The darkness was thick and unsettling. It moved slowly, like a black mist flowing and swirling. There was no sense of up or down, no pull of gravity, no point of reference for the senses. There was only that endless, everlasting void. Yet, that chaos was beginning to change. Wisps of darkness, barely distinguishable, had started to spin in synchronicity, as if conducted by an unfelt vortex. Ahead, in the distance, light broke through the smoky whirlpool, its glimmer so faint it might have very well been a mere candle. With what felt like tremendous effort, the light brightened, rays stretching out through the formless obscurity. There was an eerie resistance, as if the darkness wouldn't give in without a fight. Ever slowly but surely, the light grew. It did so until the tension between it and the dark mist reached a critical point. Then, suddenly, the invisible barrier broke, and light rushed through abundantly. When the threshing light settled, a beautiful evening sky took form. There were vibrant yellows and oranges behind violet clouds, a masterpiece of the heavens. The cheerful ballad of the birds was the perfect seasoning for such a sight. Slowly, it faded into a mystical obsidian, as stars began to show themselves twinkling. The rhythm changed into a jazzy chant as crickets took over the show. The lazy summer breeze hastened, whistling through the sinuous trees that danced to the tunes of sundown. By all accounts, it was as typical an evening as evenings could be. Yet, there was something in the air, intangible, undeniable. The atmosphere was heavy, as if overburdened with fateful momentum. Amongst the stars in the sky, one did not belong. Uncharacteristically, it neither twinkled nor remained still. In fact, it cruised past its peers quite expeditiously, leaving a wispy trail in its wake. As it came down from the heavens, it grew in size. Distinct features became discernible: wings, a small sharp nose, and a metallic hull. Obviously, it was not a heavenly body at all, but a vessel, a small flying machine, a speedster. The distinct hum of its internal apparatus grew into a powerful zing. The crickets went silent as it neared the ground. It was not as loud and unrefined as a jet engine. No, this was an elegant piece of machinery, swerving majestically through the treetops. Its design was very reminiscent of a bird of prey, a hawk. It moved as if it were alive, with numerous moving parts. The craft reared up slightly, slowing down on approach to its destination, a circular stone-laid courtyard near the edge of a cliff. The ocean waves crashed vigorously into the rocks below, adding to the natural orchestra. Bright yellow lights adorned the rim of the landing site, making it plainly visible to incoming visitors. Neatly trimmed trees flanked the courtyard on either side, a clear sign of careful maintenance. The light revealed the hawk ship's emerald and ebony livery, with delicate golden lines. As the vessel began its landing procedure, it slowly became first translucent and then transparent. Within moments, it had evanesced completely, revealing the graceful form of the woman that was inside. An orb on her chest was beaming with magical power, its glow fading as her landing came to an end. From her black skin-tight suit, threads sprung out and interweaved, forming a long majestic green robe with golden rims. The helmet she wore melted away, releasing her beautiful golden hair into the cool wind. Her eyes, scintillating emeralds, overflowed with will and wisdom. The instant her feet touched the ground, she slid seamlessly into a stride, heading directly towards the passage between the pompous trees. Beyond them was a magnificent temple, with rows of white marble pillars and turquoise adornments. Though it was truly a sight to behold, she gave it little notice. At the entrance, a servant serenely awaited her arrival. Upon closer inspection, the servant revealed himself to be a puppet of sorts, a wooden mannequin brought to life by enchantment. Though he wore clothes and looked like a man from a distance, on his wooden face he displayed only a pair of glowing yellow eyes. He bowed, welcoming her respectfully, and with a wave of his hand commanded the double doors opened. The woman proceeded into the great hall. Inside, more white marble pillars rose up to the ceiling along the side walls. Beautifully sculpted chandeliers illuminated the place. At the opposite end of the chamber from the door was a majestic altar with 3 floating chairs. In those chairs sat 3 hooded figures. They remained motionless, awaiting their newly arrived guest. When the blonde woman reached them, they rose from their seats. Though they did not reveal their faces, it was clear to see they were not made of wood, but flesh and bones. "Good evening, ladies," the woman greeted kindly. "Welcome back, my lady," the one in the middle replied. "We trust your trip was free of incident as we have foreseen." "Yes, of course," she replied distractedly. Tapping her wrist, she made the robe come alive and morph into a large floating armchair. She sat in it and crossed her long curvy legs. "So," she asked, after making herself comfortable, "what do you have for me?" The 3 maidens sat back down. "More than we can disclose in one breath," the figure on the left replied suggestively. They each spoke in turn, as if their minds were one and the same. "Our sightless eyes have seen many things these past few days. Confusion, strife, darkness. We have found some answers, but many new questions as well. Such is the nature of foresight. Always, the future offers crossroads, paths, choices. Tonight, a crucial decision will be made, and it will be made by you, Lady Kayla. This is a defining moment in time, a point after which there will be no return. For many nights," continued another maiden, "we have studied the visions presented to us. Though they are still scattered and unclear, we have made a breakthrough. There are new developments, separate for now, but on a converging course." "Converging?" Lady Kayla inquired. "How so?" "There was a ripple in the ether," they replied. "An event powerful enough to alter the very fabric of time, to create new paths through the weave of destiny. Though it distorted our sight, it also gave us glimpses of clarity. We believe the pawns with which this game will play out have been revealed to us. They are 5. "5?" she echoed. "Always that number, 5. There must be some kind of significance to it." After a quick moment, she snapped out of her odd reverie and nodded at the maidens to continue. Though they seemed to be blind, somehow they knew to proceed. "The youth, the tome, the beast, the shadow, and the quill. These are the 5 pawns in this game of fates. Unfortunately, we could not uncover the youth's likeness. It is most likely they have not yet ascended. Regardless, this youth will be the centerpiece, around which all will orbit. Of this we are certain." The hooded maiden switched speakers again. "The tome is an article of alluring power, corrupted and perilous. We suspect it is an ancient relic of sorts, hidden away in times long past. Now it has been rediscovered by an old friend of yours, a keeper of runes." "Voland?" she instantly gasped, before adding with comical disbelief, "You've got to be kidding. What is it with that sly old Drake? He keeps crossing my path again and again." "Indeed," they agreed. "Though he's powerful and wise, he has not yet deciphered the tome. It is shrouded in darkness. We cannot foresee its fate, only that it is somehow related to the beast. The exact nature of this relationship eludes us. This creature, whatever it may be, is a most elusive pawn. We see a loyal and cunning servant, perhaps a familiar, but its purpose, its location, its form, it is all a mystery to us." Lady Kayla sighed and commented, "I see what you mean by many new questions. 5 pawns appear out of nowhere, and we know close to nothing about them." "True," they conceded. "Still, wisdom suggests where there is a servant, there must be a master. Though we were unable to sense anything of the sort, the answer may lay within the shadow. It is an impenetrable darkness, unnaturally devoid of light. That sounds awfully like the void, she pointed out grimly. I don't suppose you can confirm that? We cannot, they replied simply. Lady Kayla muttered thoughtfully to herself. A Thomas servant, a master hidden in darkness. This reminds me of something I saw a long time ago. I wonder. After a moment she looked back up at the 3 foreseers and said, Go on. They did so. Both the tome and the beast are drawn to the youth and the youth to them. I see, said Lady Kayla in a tone of realization. So this tome must have already been opened or activated, which in turn awoke the beast, and now our dear youth is at risk? The 3 maidens hesitated for the first time, as if taken aback. We cannot see this to be so, one of them finally said. Lady Kayla smiled at them in a slightly patronizing manner and proceeded to explain. If this tome is such an important relic, an ancient relic, surely just touching it might cause a ripple like the one you have mentioned. Wouldn't you agree? You would indeed, my lady, they said, realizing the obvious connection they had completely overlooked. That's why this all happened at once, she continued. It's a chain reaction. Lord Volland found the tome and somehow activated it. Now the beast is loose and seeking the youth. Obviously, that isn't a good thing because if it were, we wouldn't be on a collision course with an impenetrable darkness. She deduced, with a frustrated huff. What about this 5th pawn, the quill? We believe the quill to be you, my lady, they informed her happily. We have foreseen it. Your decisions will shape the future, just as they have done before. A quill, am I? She considered with a sly smirk. I suppose it's rather fitting. It's always been my goal to write my own story. God knows I've been at this for so long now. It almost seems like a dream fading away into... She trailed off, lost in memories. After a short while, the maidens broke her reverie. We were never quite able to foresee your decisions, my lady. Have you already made your choice? The woman looked at them curiously. You know soon enough. Is that all then? No other revelations for tonight? No, my lady, that is all, they answered. Very well, Lady Kayla accepted, casually stretching her arms over her head and crackling her knuckles. Finding that youth is top priority for you 3, got it? We can't allow the tome to get there first. Yes, of course, my lady, they acknowledged with a respectful bow. Keep me posted on any further revelations, ladies, she appended before rising sharply from her robe chair. The 3 maidens mirrored her action, standing up with her. Yes, my lady. The woman then flicked her wrist, and her robe went back to its more natural dangling form. Without another word, she nodded to the maidens, turned on her heel, and walked out the door. She did so with considerably less haste than when she entered. She seemed lost in thought all the way out to the courtyard. And when she got there, she didn't immediately blast off into the heavens in her hawk-shaped form. For a long moment she just stood there, pondering. Then she smiled softly and whispered to herself, Unbelievable. Volland of all people. If I do this right, it might just turn out even better than I had planned. Gazing gleefully up to the stars above, she opened her arms, leapt gracefully into the air, and took flight. As Lady Kayla disappeared into the stars from whence she came, a black mist began to swirl in the shadows behind the trees. The lights faded. Soon the courtyard began to lose form, and once again the darkness was everywhere. A familiar voice called out, a whisper, close yet far away, the sound of howling wind fading into a quiet breeze. After a while there was only silence, no longer any sense of up or down. There was nothing.